Killian, a German teacher came over and taught German at Broadway High School in Seattle. While he was teaching school, they had the summers off, so they took a little mosquito boat from Seattle up to the vacant Kayak Point property. And they would camp all summer long with his children and the family. One of the children, of course, was Arthur Killian, my dad. Later on, as the kids all got older, they all did their own thing, and Heinrich asked his son Art if he'd like to take that property and do some farming up above and do whatever he wants down below on the beach. My dad said, I'll do that. As time went on and Heinrich died and my dad got the property, he first built a house, which is currently called the Park Ranger Kayak Cottage. My dad built that to live in the wintertime when the resort was closed. In the summertime, they lived in a store building that he built down on the beach. That's where he lived in the summer. So while this was going on, he was developing the resort, which he lived in as a child. Then he started building cabins. And he built totally, at the end of this thing, he had 16 cabins. The place became very, very popular.
My father's brothers were involved in Arctic explorations back in the early 1900s. One of my uncles trading a sewing machine to the locals for 2 kayaks. These were native-built kayaks, and he brought them back on the ship to Seattle. And of course, then the question was, what do you do with these kayaks? So my dad talked him into taking the kayaks, and he hung them up in the store down on the beach. And the name of the resort became Kayak Point Resort.
Towards the end, when it was extremely busy, at one time they had 300 cars down on the beach, picnickers, fishermen. So it became too much for my dad. He asked his kids if we'd like to run the resort, and we saw what was going on, and all of us decided we didn't want to do it.
In 1955, the Atlantic Richfield Oil Corporation decided there was need for a new oil refinery in the Pacific Northwest. A 2,000-acre plot of land adjacent to and including Kayak Point was chosen. After the property was sold by the Killians, Richfield Oil proposed the new refinery. The plan was opposed by local citizens, including Arthur Killian.
Involvement my father had in trying to have Richfield fail to have a refinery at this location. There was a Save Kayak Point group. He was a member of it. This was after he had sold the property. He was retired, wasn't involved anymore. But he was very concerned about having an oil refinery in this confined area of Port Susan with a chance of oil spills ruining the environment. And he was one of the members of the Save Kayak Point, Save Port Susan, that helped convince ARCO Richfield to move up to Whatcom County.
It's just amazing. People come from Seattle, come from all over here to utilize this park. You have the locals that come here on a regular basis, but big groups of people come up here. Rent the shelters, family reunions, everything. I mean, this place is packed with people.
If you've never been here before, it's a place in its own. Once you come around the driveway to come down in here, you're coming down into a bunch of history, and you're coming down into something that people have loved and been in and cherished for many years, and even back to when this place was fully a resort by the Killians. And then when we got it, and I mean, we didn't make too many changes. We don't have the resort anymore, but now it's Snohomish County Parks. But even now, coming here and working here, I cherish this place every day, and if you've never been here, I'd say come here. We have 3,000 feet of shoreline and a 300-foot fishing dock, and you can't find that anywhere near here.
He was very pleased when the county was able to acquire the property and build the park. He recognized the land was very unique in Port Susan as a recreation site. He worked with the county as best he could to help them with getting the park set up the way it is today. It's what he would have wanted right from the start. I mean, we're talking about nearly 100 years ago that he's had this vision of recreation down on that beach.